Hello people that and how is doing today? I seen yesterday, it was mentioned on OT about Finland and how they're able to, deal with homelessness and the house and force scheme over in Finland. And I've been talking about this since the beginning of my channel. I've been like, Finland is the country we should be looking to and looking for inspiration from because they know what they're doing. And believe me, I'm looking at the Finnish government, what they're doing. They know what they're doing. As simple as that, they know what they're doing. They know what's up, if that's a better word to use. And obviously they're determined. And I have to say, never seen the government like it. To keep people in housing and to keep them safe and to keep them, to give them a building block to a better life. And that's by giving them a house. And as they say in Finland, security. You have four walls. If you're not out in the cold, you're healthy. And everything else come to you. And it's like building blocks. You give them a house first, then you give them a sustainable job, you give them this, and then you give them that. Building blocks. In this country, they just try and fight and give everybody everything at once. And, that doesn't work. Obviously, if somebody comes into the country, doesn't know even English, they were like, let's give them a license. That's literally what this country's like. Let's give them a license. They can't understand a word of English, but let's give them a license. They don't have to do a driving test, let them out. That's literally what Leo Falco's like. And obviously, I've been saying this. Finland are really, their government over there really do care about the people over there. They don't want to abandon them, leave them dying in the street, leave them to suffer, honest to God, 3,000 homeless children in Ireland at the moment in time. 3,500 or something. Absolutely, utterly unacceptable, no matter where you look at it. It's unacceptable. And in Finland, barely anybody homeless. Barely anybody. I use the word barely because they're not given an option. They have to go into some place because they're not left dying in the street. And that just shows you, that alone, saying that bit, that just shows their government over there don't care, how much it's going to cost to feed them, how much it's going to cost to keep them alive. They're like, we care about our people. We're not abandoning them. And over here, Leo Franco's like, you're no use to me unless you're walking, unless you pay your tax. You're no use. We don't care. Die in the street. We don't care. You have a children. We don't care. We don't have to pay for your children's allowance because you don't have a dress. It's just that kind of crack. That's the kind of crack we live in this country with. And Leo Franco doesn't take the time. Like, he's too busy swanning off to America. He's swanning off here. He's swanning off there. And I've been saying for the longest time, if they go and ask nicely the Finnish government, the Finnish Prime Minister, can they please, help us to, adapt their policy and to help us adapt it, to make it, can they help us with our policy on homelessness? I say if you ask them, Leo Franco, if he stop being a cunt and looking, trying to lick up, Angela Merkel and the rest of them in Europe and not being being judged by Europe, in other words, if you just go over to Finland and be like, please, can you help us? I'm sure that Finnish people are very generous and very nice. You go over and ask them, no problem. And this country will be fixed in a week. And I say that very likely. If you go, Finnish ministers came over here, they sold out this country, they kick out Owen Murphy, they literally kick him out on his backside. Like, Owen Murphy would have the biggest land ever. Because they literally have the whole country fixed in a week. And the man does not lie to you. Because they wouldn't sit around either waiting for something to be done. Because that's what this government does. They're waiting to the last moment, until everybody's dying in the street. They're like, oh, you know what, we should probably build houses. And over in Finland, they're like, we don't care. There's 60 people lying in the street at the moment in time. Why put every cent into building houses? Simple as that. And it makes sense. I'm sure people understand, it does make sense. Giving somebody a house is a stepping stone to a better life. If you give them a house, they have security. You can tick off a lot of boxes. And as I said, Finland deems it as a right. Which a house is a right for everybody in this world. Everybody deserves a home. Some place to call home. And sadly in this country so many people don't, and so many children especially don't have a house to call home. And that's because of the government obviously in this country. And this how they don't care about, Irish people. They don't care about how many people die in the street. They only care about, Tom and Joe over there has a big business from America. He doesn't care. They don't care less. You might not be paying your tax, but we care about you because you're big industries. We don't care anything else. We don't care about anything else. As long as, the immigrants are happy too, so what about it? That's the Falco for you. And in Finland, they're like, it's a right. Your house is a right. It's simple as that. There's no saying you can't, that you don't deserve it. You don't, if you work, If you don't even walk, you get a house, because it's simple as that, because that's the way their policy works. It's not that you have to work for it or anything like that. You get it. It's a right. It's a human right to have, and this which is very, which is something that other countries don't take very serious. And obviously this country doesn't take serious at all. But in Ireland you can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never take a break, pay your tax. The government just abandons you and just leaves you to die on the street. As simple as that. They couldn't care. Leo Varadkar couldn't care. As long as he had his money, he couldn't care. It's very different. Very, very different society. And I said it so many times, it's a very, very different way of life. And it's a very, it's a very sustainable country, and they know what they're doing. And the Finnish government obviously know what they're doing. Obviously because they see the numbers that have dropped. It used to be 20-something thousand lying in the streets of Finland back in the 1980s. Barely 150 lying in the street now. Barely. I use the word barely because they haven't got an idea of how low it is. Because it's that low they can't keep count of it. And that just, in this country we can't keep out of it because it's getting higher and higher every day. Do I raise my case? Does Leo Varadkar and Fine Gael understand where I'm coming from? Instead of licking up to Germany and the facts, go over and ask the Finnish Prime Minister nicely and the Finnish government, will you please help us out? We're in desperate need. There's so many people suffering and dying on the street. We need some help from your government. And I'm sure to God they will say yes. Because that's how you will fix it. If you ask them to come over here, if you get the few ministers who used to be house ministers in Finland, kick Owen Murphy here for a few months and give him home leave or something like that, put him into the army for a few months. The country, the housing crisis will be over. And I bet you any money. I bet you, I put my life on it, that if we got 2-3 government ministers from Finland over here, this country would turn into a lot better country. And I don't say that lightly. Anyway, thank you for watching, subscribe more and bye.